Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Tomahawk Talk. I am your host, Jake Green. Mark Myre and Tim Scott, my co host, will join me a little bit later. Also, Coach Gadbury as well. This episode, financed by the Bank of Pontiac. We appreciate all the support from the Bank of Pontiac. Of course, they have locations all over Central Illinois. Be sure to check out the Bank of Pontiac. On this episode, we talk about everything from week 1 through 3, and we dive into what the Pontiac Indian program has been in these first couple of weeks. We also look at what's coming up tomorrow night, Illinois Valley Central at home. Indians go on the road and come back. We talk about all what the schedule looks like and everything pertaining to the Indians' next 3 games as well. Sit back, relax, and listen to what Coach Gadbury, Mark, Tim, and myself have to chat about here on this edition of Tomahawk Talk with Friends of Pontiac Football, financed by the Bank of Pontiac.
Tomahawk Talk is built by Abraham Masonry. Tomahawk Talk is driven by Heller Motors. Tomahawk Talk is financed by the Bank of Pontiac. Tomahawk Talk is founded by Fellheimer Law Firm. DPI is a proud sponsor of Tomahawk Talk.
Welcome back, everyone, once again to Tomahawk Talk. I'm Jake Green. Mark Myre and Tim Scott joined me as well. Coach Gadbury also joining us here. Guys, week 1, 2, and 3 of Pontiac football. That's what we have on tap for everyone today. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
Good to be back.
Coach is here as well. Coach, how are you doing today, my man?
Doing well. Getting excited. Excited for practice here this afternoon and hanging in there. How are we doing, guys?
Doing great. Coach, you got a sharp shirt. Wow, look at that.
I'll tell you what, they take care of us over here. Take care of us over here. Fits pretty good.
I should be on your staff, man.
No, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't.
Well, guys, Tim and you and Mason, your grandson, were up at Coal City. It was a loss for the Indians. However, it was the first time we saw the product. I tell you what, I think we kind of saw some strengths. We started to see this ball rolling a little bit for Pontiac football. Coach, run me through what was that first game day like for Pontiac football? You get on the road, a non-conference game, and you finally got to see what your product in practice was on the field.
Yeah, I think the first thing looking back at that game, which was unique for us, was we played a freshman game before the varsity game. So we had to kind of deal with some different things there. That's something that we haven't done since I've been here. But I thought that our kids came out ready to play. We in anticipation that week 1, you don't really know what to expect. You don't know what you're going to get on the other side of the ball. Obviously, we knew we were going to play a tough Coal City team, them coming off of a semifinal run last year. But like you said, I thought we showed some strengths. I thought we saw some of that hard work we put in the offseason show a little bit there. And it was good to see us more competitive throughout 4 quarters in that week 1 loss.
Coach, one of the things I thought that they did was, first of all, an intimidation factor prior to the game. It's like they have a money tree parked in their backyard there. The facilities, the bodies, they got a huge roster, and it's kind of intimidating. You guys got off to a somewhat sluggish start, and then all of a sudden your defense caught fire and made some plays in the second quarter. And all of a sudden, I thought, to be honest with you, that's the best half of defense you guys have played since your tenure started here.
Yeah, I would agree. Like you said, they're a good program. When we got to campus there, it felt like we were playing Coal City College a little bit with the facilities and then all the things that they had. But again, I think our defense played well the first 2 weeks of the season for the most part. We didn't help them out offensively week 2. Obviously, week 1, we saw some things here and there. But no, I mean, again, week 1's tough. You just don't know what you're getting into. You don't know what you got versus what you're going up against. So I thought we saw some good things building off going into week 2. And overall, got out healthy, and week 1 was kind of what it was.
Coach, if my memory serves correct, first half, you ran the football and ran it somewhat effectively, and you had holes opened up. I think Melchers ended up with 90, 95 yards for the game, if memory serves correct. So obviously some things were going well. And I do remember a critical holding penalty that stifled the drive, or you wonder what would have been different. But there was some positives in your offensive line, and the running attack certainly was at the forefront.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to continue to try and build off of our run game, with Ben and we've started to give sophomore Jaden Reed a few more carries here just to help the load a little bit. But Ben went for 25 carries and 95 yards in week one. I mean, that's a pretty good night carrying the football. I think moving forward, though, we have to be able to find ways to lighten that box a little bit. He can't just run it into 8 or 9 defenders in the box. So that's a challenge for us moving forward. But yeah, we have a couple of nice backs. I thought that our O-line, for the most part, held their own against a good defensive front week one. And we just got to continue to kind of make strides in building off of that.
Coach, who are some of your offensive line guys you just mentioned that have really held their own against those defensive lines the first couple of weeks? Week one, who really showed out to you, being able to hold their own really across the board? Who translated from practice to game number one? Who stuck out to you?
I think physically a kid that matches up with just about anybody in our conference is Donovan Curry. He stands at about 6'4", 240. I mean, a good-sized kid, strong kid. His work ethic is one of the best in our program. So him at left tackle, I mean, you turn on the tape, you're going to kind of see the direction we're trying to run the ball. It's behind him. TJ Murphy does a tremendous job at center. I think we had one or two off the chest snaps a little bit week one, but for the most part, being in gun 100% of the time, he's been pretty consistent snapping the football. Aiden Prendergast has stepped up at the other tackle spot, Hunter McCullough. And then, you've seen Lucas Myre play a little bit more offensive line. He's an undersized kid a little bit, but man, is he tough. He finished 6th in the state, I think, last year in wrestling as a freshman. He plays our inside linebacker spot. So his speed and his pad level has brought a little bit of a different dimension to us up front as we move throughout the season.
Coach, you get to the wideouts a little bit. You've got King, you've got Carr. Talk about your wide receivers.
Yeah, I think we're still growing. We're still developing there. I think we have a group of athletic kids. I think playing the receiver position is a little bit of an art. How do you get open? What does your route tree look like? And then there's other things that go with it, right? Can we protect the quarterback? Is the quarterback making the right decisions and getting the ball where it needs to go? So, again, we're still a work in progress going into week 4. We've tried to simplify some things for our kids to allow them to play fast and play confident. But I think we've seen, the first 3 weeks, we can't continue to shoot ourselves in the foot. It's terrible. It frustrates me. I know it frustrates our staff. We talk about it. I think, sometimes the tough thing that we see is it's tough to emulate that in practice, right? When there's another defense or an offense across from you, and now all of a sudden there's that different element of pressure, and things crank up a little bit. And that's when we've started to kind of see some of our own mental mistakes coming out. So I got to be better. Our staff's got to be better. Our kids got to continue to work at it and find ways to clean things up. And I think if we can get to a point where we're playing cleaner football, we will start to see a lot of those things take care of themselves.
The goal is to keep Tim's blood pressure down. When you do that, rolling, see?
You and me both, Tim. You and me both.
I can only imagine after the other night. Hey, A.J. DeLong and Brody Carr seem to be a tandem that maybe is a favorite receiver in the early going, and kind of like what Carr brings to the table. A.J.'s had some positive moments, and he's just got to get more of those and minimize the mistakes.
Yeah, again, it's across the board of just cleaning things up, giving him a cleaner picture, making sure his eyes are in the right spot, and then being on time with the football. And that that takes, again, everybody working as a group up front, protecting our receivers, getting to where they need to be into their landmarks, and AJ getting the ball out on time and on target. So Brody brings a nice dynamic. We're going to continue to give guys different opportunities to see who kind of rises to the top as our outside receiver. Brody kind of plays our slot. There's a number of different ways we can kind of get him the football from that position. So just trying to continue to find ways to get our athletes the ball in space and keep building off of that.
What's cool about this with Carr, and I know a bunch of them, their dads, we used to work their games. The dads are bringing the kids back to the field. Tradition comes back to the field. You build tradition here. You're looking for that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what good programs are all about. And that, again, that's why I took the job a couple years ago, because I knew what this place could be and I knew what it's been. And it's good to see some of those guys. We got a number of groups of brothers on the team and in the program. That gets me excited too. A couple of guys that are juniors or seniors with younger brothers. So just continuing to build a pipeline from our JFL all the way up and keep moving this thing in the right direction.
Tell you what, guys, let's take a break right now. Let's thank some of our partners, and when we come back, we'll talk about what week 2 was for the Pontiac Indian football program. Prairie Central, the Livingston County rivalry. We'll talk about that on the other side of this break.
Tomahawk Talk would like to thank all of our sponsors that make this show possible.
Okay, we talked about week 1. We talked about everything with Coal City and what are some things kind of going on in the Indian program. We talked about brothers and all sorts of things as well. Now, week 2, the Livingston County rivalry, a game that I think everyone circles on their calendar every year, every sport. Prairie Central, Pontiac, it's this bitter rivalry that, man, it just gives me goosebumps thinking about what that means, at least to me. Mark, Tim, you guys got to see it firsthand at Williamson Field of what Pontiac had with Prairie Central.
I'll tell you what I love about that football game, we were down, the fans saw it, but we had fight and we came back. And I really, on that last sort of play, I thought the ball was caught and we were going to the end zone. Coach, I know we went back and forth that earlier talking off mic, but I love our excitement and passion. Our kids, there's no give up. It's a different group, man. They come back and fought. You got to love that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've talked about since I've been here. We saw a little bit of that in week 3 against PBL in the second half. But, again, you talk about a rivalry game, you talk about the emotions, you talk about the atmosphere. There's nothing quite like Williamson Field in a rivalry game on a Friday night like that. And I get it. I get what it means to the kids. I get what it means to the communities. But we've got to get to a point as a football program where it's the important game because it's the next game. Mm-hmm. I think that we just put almost too much stock into that game, and we just missed out on so many opportunities. Like I mentioned to Tim, we were 0 for 5 and 4th and 2 or less. So when you talk about executing on 4th down and being able to move the chains again and pick up another set of downs, that's huge in a rivalry game, especially in a close game like that, low scoring kind of defensive battle. So again, want to move forward. We're past that. But you look back and when you reflect on that game, it's just like, man, we might have let that one get away from us, but our kids fought till the very end. For us to hit a big play on a deep ball there, to make it a 1-score game, and then to execute an onside kick. I mean, you couldn't have drawn it up any better. The execution, Brody Carr does a tremendous job of that. We practiced that a ton. And then Corbin Dyke was the one that ended up jumping on the football there and getting it recovered for us to give us an opportunity late in that game. And again, we just had a couple of mental mistakes where looking from the sideline, you might not notice it. But just a couple of things here or there where if we play a little bit cleaner, I think we got a good shot to find a way to score there. But I loved our kids fight. I've loved our kids fight the first 3 weeks. We're going to hang our hat on doing that and keep moving with that aggressive mindset moving forward.
Who's some of the kids in your mind stepped up for Prairie Central?
Oh, I mean, our defense, they gave up 3 points in the second half. They held a really good tailback in the Scala kid to a quiet second half, which was one of the big things that we pointed out at the halftime talk. Logan Mackinson, our linebacking core, Lucas Myre, our defensive guys there, Bryce Robinson, Armani Luttrell has done a tremendous job stepping up into a cornerback spot, a kid that can cover and tackle at the same time.
How about Owen Stroh?
There you go.
How about Owen Stroh?
I tell you what,
call his name a lot.
He is our Swiss Army knife. He's a kid that we've had for 3 years now, and he might be one of the most favorite kids I've coached since I've been here. Just his work ethic, his attention to detail, his want On Friday nights, guys, there might not be anybody else that wants to win more than Owen Schro. And just building off of his energy and continuing to move forward with him in responsible roles will be big for us moving forward here. So, yeah, we had a number of guys step up in the second half of that game. I would have liked to run the ball a little bit better. Again, they loaded the box on us. They challenged us to throw the ball, and we just didn't find a groove in our passing game like we've seen ourselves do in practice, and I think we're capable of. So, again, it was a hard-fought game, tough one, rivalry game. I think we're starting to see ourselves become a little bit more competitive, guys, and that's the first step with it. So, again, excited about our kids' fight. We're going to keep building off of that and moving throughout the season.
I got to ask you, you played for a legend, Scotty Hamilton. You go back and forth a little bit. Scott, I'm sure struggled early before he built that dynasty down in Tolono. You talked to him some about what things got to be done?
Yeah, absolutely. We chat a lot. I've got a number of guys that I kind of fall back onto. Obviously, guys, I couldn't do it without my staff. I think I got a really good staff right now. We got a good nucleus of guys that have been with me since I've been here. Obviously we had Josh, Coach Meisner on week one. So yeah, I'm always asking questions, finding ways to get better. Coach Hamilton, I think he won for so long that he maybe isn't the perfect guy to go to when things are tough and you're trying to put wins on the chart. But a number of guys that I reach out to for advice and things that way.
Coach, I was watching from Ohio online and just seeing that sequence there at the end, long touchdown pass, onside recovery. Oh my, could Pontiac win this game? It's again, you mentioned, and I like your idea to make this game become more of a just it's special because it's the next game, not just because it's the rivalry, but still being from Pontiac and that rivalry meaning something. I'm watching from 5 hours away on a little phone screen, and I get chills from it. Watching the game film that we'll see in this video as well, you can see the excitement from the kids. You can see them jumping around. The stands are going crazy. That excitement for Pontiac football, again, we talked a little bit about this in pregame before PBL. It's starting to turn a little more. We're starting to see the excitement coming that maybe it's working. Maybe this process that we're trusting is working. But my question is, when you're on the sidelines at Williamson Field on a Friday night with the lights shining down, and you're in striking distance of that win in that game, what is that like for you and everyone around you?
It's exciting. I mean, that's why you do it, right? That's why you play high school football. That's why you put the time and the effort in. For moments like that where you have an opportunity with the football to try and take the lead in a tough game. And, the thing about it is our kids haven't experienced that a whole lot the last couple of years. So we're getting back used to that feeling, what it feels like to be in a tight football game in the fourth quarter. So again, all of those things are part of building, right? A part of laying the foundation and getting it back to where we want it to be. And moments like those are going to continue to strengthen us and help us move forward throughout the process.
Coach, Mark, Tim, we talked all about week 2. On the other side of this break, what are we going to talk about? It's week 3. Paxton, Buckley, Loda, and the Panthers. The Indians go back on the road. After this break, we'll talk all about it. Don't go anywhere.
Tomahawk Talk would like to thank all of our sponsors that make this show possible.
Okay, we talked about week 1 and week 2. Now it's week 3. The Indians go back on the road after what was an exciting game, a loss, but an exciting game with Prairie Central. And you go down on the road to PBL. Now, here's when maybe some things started to change a little bit. And I would say the excitement we had that week before starts to die out just a tad. Coach, you had some struggles early with PBL.
Yeah, I think looking back, the first thing that frustrates me is just, again, the pre-snap penalties, false starts. I think we had a delay a game in there. I can't quite remember. But when you come out on the road in your first drive, that's the last thing that you want. You're setting yourself back. You're digging yourself into a hole. And again, it's just simplifying things, cleaning things up, finding ways to try and address that in practice. Thing is, guys, is this is a tough conference. PBL is a team that lost to Central Catholic by a touchdown week 1. Central Catholic went on the road to Tolono and won by a score over there last week. It's a gauntlet. And when you go on the road against a tough team like PBL, who's 0-2, have played 2 of the toughest teams in our conference, they're just as hungry to get a win as we are. So again, we got to eliminate the pre-snap penalties, the unforced errors, play cleaner football. But again, I thought we did a good job of responding in the second half. We went in the second half, and our message was we got to go find something we can hang our hat on. And I might as well just thrown our play call sheet away. I said we're going to run our 3 or 4 base plays. We're going to go get good at it. We're going to get back to what we know, get back to what we do. And I think we started to kind of see some things get rolling a little bit more on the offensive side of the ball like we did week 1. So that's the continued message going forward. Make them defend what we're good at and then build off of it. And then defensively continue to fly to the ball. And we gave up too many big plays on defense over the top of our heads and allowing guys to get behind us and need to keep the ball in front of us and make that 16-year-old quarterback snap the ball again. So that's just kind of where we're at moving into week 4.
Sounds like you're going back to the simplification. Just make it real easy, 3-4 plays. We want to run them better than anybody in the state and get it done.
Yep. That's kind of what we did when I was in high school. It's kind of what I know. And then, obviously you can build off of those things. What are your counters? What are your, mix-ups that you want to do with them? We've had success with a screenplay the last couple of weeks that's hit for some big gains. So building off of that, right? Other teams get our film and are expecting to defend that. So, again, simplifying things, allowing our kids to play confident, allowing our kids to play fast, because I think when we play that way, we're much tougher to deal with.
Coach, in terms of the game, and there's no need to beat a dead horse, but the mental approach of being ready to play and certainly comes into play. I can't believe we were, because you definitely had a PBL team that was loaded for bear. They are 0-2. They're home. They needed to win desperately. I don't think we matched that energy early. And the other thing that was disconcerting was the fact of your secondary you mentioned. They got torched 6 touchdown passes.
Yeah.
And I thought that was one of the keys and one of the things we've done well in the first 2 weeks.
Yep.
So let's just hope this is just like one game hiccup. They know how to go. They know what to expect. And, have to go through stretches to know how to win. Mm-hmm. But at that point in time, you can't have another approach like that to start a ball game, or what's going to end up happening in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, especially when you play teams as tough as we do, that are coming out ready to play. Right. I told the kids, I said, my job is to get you ready throughout the week. Your job is to get ready on Friday night. Right. And I can't put the pads on and play for them, and they understand that. It's a smart group of kids. We got a good group of kids. They knew they came out flat. By the time they knew they came out flat, it was too late. So again, that's something we're going to focus on this week and try and we've spotted our opponent at least 14 points in the first quarter, the first 3 weeks of the season, guys. You can't do that, right? We get out to a slow start against Coal City. Go down 20-0. We get out to a slow start against Prairie Central, go down 14-0. Same thing happened last week. We just got to come ready to play. And when you see it as a pattern 3 weeks in a row, maybe then that's my job to do something different throughout the week. But again, I challenge our kids to I'm going to get you guys ready throughout the week. We're going to change a couple things up, and then it's your job to be ready to go when the lights turn on Friday nights.
What I love about it, you hate losing. I've been around you some great coaches. They hate losing. You're looking to turn it around. But I tell you what, look, week in, week out. Tell me, I've been impressed a little bit. Punter, his name's been awesome. Your kickers, tell us about your special teams.
Yeah, our special teams has taken a huge jump from the first couple of years. When we talked about our philosophy with punt and punt return, I don't know if you guys have noticed, we haven't caught a punt yet. My second year last year, we gave up 7 opportunities to have the football on offense because of a penalty on punt return or a muffed punt, or we weren't lined up correctly and giving up a fake. So again, just some philosophical things from a special team standpoint. We've put a lot more time and focus on it. Coach Starker kind of heads up our special teams and has done a tremendous job with getting our guys ready to go. I think our punt unit has been our best offense at times with Brody Carr, and the ball just kind of fires off of his leg. So being able to flip the field and make the opposing offense march down the field is super important. And we'll continue to focus on some of those areas and try and make a difference in games in the special teams side of things.
Coach, that's been a note you've had in our pregame segment for the Ion Central Illinois network all year is, make that big play in the special teams. And you go back to a guy like Brody Carr. I noted this on air the other night. From watching Brody first put on the pads, he bought in, but he was still learning. To see his evolution, I feel like, has been tremendous. He's put the effort to learn it, to understand it, and to now do it. And you're seeing some amazing work out of him, really across the board.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a great kid. He comes to work every day. He straps up his chin strap and he just does what he's told to do. And those kids are a dime a dozen, and he's one of the best of them. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Kerr Bowman my first year when Kerr came out for the first time and kind of he was a little spark plug for us. We've had 2 years with Brody, and we've just continued to see him develop and get better. And I think that's a great message for the kids in our school that are maybe on the fence of playing football. Look at guys like Kerr Bowman and Brody Carr and, Bryce Robinson this year, who's out for his first year playing football, who are doing really good things and making a difference for the program. We want to continue to welcome those kids because I think that we can develop you and turn you into a solid football player and make a difference here.
Are you one of those hallway guys? Go up to the kids, say, "We need you."
All the time. That's all I do. That's half the battle is recruiting your hallways and making sure kids are wanted, and we want all we can get. And like I said, I think we'll have a good chance of developing you and making something out of it.
I think the best part about that is you say just developing you, and I think that goes beyond the game of football. Again, I think I've noted this before. Your staff and yourself do a great job of. We're going to get you ready for football, but we're also going to teach you a lot of other things that you just may not realize. That we're going to teach you about discipline in life. We're going to teach you about these different factors that are just going to help you as a person, and maybe in the classroom as well. Again, I think your staff does a tremendous job with that, and I think the Pontiac Township High School does a great job with that as well. I think, if I was maybe still in school and not in the media side, you saw me walking through the halls, you'd probably be like, "Man, he needs some conditioning." But if I bring him a boat of mini corn dogs and maybe a strawberry,
line, man, let's go. Jake Green on the line. You can play.
I played football 1 year in JFL. I did.
You play. You got a coach like this, you'd have played.
I think I was more successful in the media venture than maybe what I would have been with pads.
We could have mic'd you up. This day, mic you up.
Maybe we should do. Maybe we should. I think that's a good idea. We might be able to do that. Man, maybe we could have. That could maybe a helmet cam. We should look into doing this. I was gonna say though, a boat of mini corn dogs and Tim, his favorite strawberry crush, right, Tim? Loves strawberry crush. He does.
Strawberry crush. We were trying to keep the audience up a little bit. We were struggling late in the game.
Strawberry crush.
Strawberry crush.
Hey, Coach.
I didn't know they made that anymore.
I didn't know they did either. I haven't even looked it up.
Only in PBL. Huh?
Coach, before we go and our final segment and with the upcoming games here, back to the Central Catholic Tolona Unity. Did that score surprise you? I know Central Catholic's got great athletes. Tolona Unity does, but that surprised me a little bit. And only means this conference is so difficult to play night in, night out. But that
was like Ali Frazier. That was a heavyweight fight, man. I went back and actually I went back home, got home from Paxton. I watched our game, and then I turned on that game and sat in my chair and rewatched that game. Two just really good football teams.
Yeah.
They're really tough up front on both sides of the ball, and then their skill kids. Both groups have really good skill kids, really good quarterbacks. Central Catholic has a recipe that if they stay healthy, their running game and being able to get, they've got 2 horses between them. They're explosive, man. And I think the same thing about Tolona. They're well coached over there, and I hate to be the team that's playing them this week coming off of a loss because that's always a tough one too. That was a good football game. Really competitive, fun to watch. excited to kind of see how the rest of the conference shakes up as we work throughout the season.
And speaking of working throughout the season, we'll talk about what the season looks like for the Pontiac Indians in the next break. In the next segment, actually, we're going to take a break now. After this break, we'll talk about what's up next for the Pontiac Indians. Don't go anywhere.
Tomahawk Talk is built by Abraham Masonry. Tomahawk Talk is driven by Heller Motors. Tomahawk Talk is financed by the Bank of Pontiac. Tomahawk Talk is founded by Fellheimer Law Firm. DPI is a proud sponsor of Tomahawk Talk.
All right, welcome back from the break, and we've talked about the first 3 weeks for Pontiac Indian football. Now it's the next 3. It's week 3 through 6. The Indians at home, on the road, and back at home in this next little stretch, encompassing a homecoming game as well. But this next week, just a day or two probably from when you're seeing this show, Illinois Valley Central and the Gray Ghost come to Pontiac. Mark, Tim, you guys will be there. What's your thoughts going into this game?
It's simple. Motivate to elevate. I mean, this is a team we can play with, team we can beat. We watched it last year. Coach, I bet you're licking your chops to play this one.
Yeah, I'm excited to be back at home. I'm excited to be back at home. I think it's a great matchup for us. They got a good little group of kids over there too, that they'll be excited to try and get their first win on the scoreboard. So we're excited for it. I know our kids are fired up for it. They love playing at home, and hopefully we can protect our turf and go get the first win of the season.
And the Great Ghosts coming off a loss, St. Joe Ogden, I do believe, and they got beat up pretty well at home. No surprise there. And they're a team similar to Pontiac, want to take that next step. So it ought to be a competitive ball game.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Again, like I said, I think it'll be a great matchup for us and should be a really competitive football game on Friday.
Coach, real quick, didn't ask, injury-wise, first 3 weeks, everything cool with your squad?
We're pretty healthy. And I think that shows what we've been doing in the weight room. I really do. Just the overall plan that Coach Meisner's put in place in our weight room and getting our bodies prepared to play competitively on Friday nights. A couple of bumps and bruises here, but that's football, right, guys?
Right.
Yep.
Tell us about some of the kids, Coach. Really got to step up for this one. Mention some kids really got to step up.
Yeah, I think it goes back to our run game offensively. We gotta control the line of scrimmage and get back to doing what I know we're capable of doing. I think we showed that in the second half against a really tough PBL front, being able to move the ball through the ground, and then things open up off of that, right? So continuing to do that way, continuing to run the ball defensively. It'll be a challenge for our box guys. Is there a team that'll like to try and run the football again? They do a couple of different things schematically, moving tackles around, playing some tackle over unbalanced type stuff, a little bit more old school. So we look forward to it. We're just excited for the opportunity, and we need to see all of our kids continue to step up. That's our challenge, is just come ready to play, come excited, because you only get so many of these. And I think as soon as they start figuring that out, we'll start to see ourselves be ready to go when the ball gets kicked off.
Hit the Hogs once again, will you? Everybody says linemen, they don't get enough coverage. I say, I'll tell you what, we've got great ones. Hit the Hogs one more time.
That's the thing, is they're a group that's developing. I mean, we're young. I mean, we're juniors across the board. We've started a sophomore last week in Lucas Myre. They've played 3 varsity football games together. And we're going to have them for another year. So Coach Abraham does a great job working with those kids. I spend some time down there with them as well as we trying to continue to develop them. Overall in our program right now, we have a pretty solid group of linemen. We just got to coach them. We got to keep developing them. They got to continue to get experience. So guys like, TJ Murphy and Donovan Curry and Hunter McCullough, Aiden Prendergast, they got to continue to work and understand what their role is. And it's not very glamorous. I lived that life for a long time. But I
apologize for calling you Hogs.
Hey, it's not the first time.
The Redskin Joe Gibbs line, that's what that was.
Yep, absolutely. But, we know how important those guys are. And it usually is what makes a difference in winning and losing on Fridays.
Coach, also make a difference, your managers. Tell us about your managers.
Oh my gosh, they've made a huge difference, and when you talk about building a program, it's in so many different facets, right? So many different ways. Your coaching staff, obviously your players, your kids, but then your support staff. We've got 6 managers this year. 4 of them are students that I put some stuff out on social media and they showed interest, and they are committed. They are here every day. They do their job. They understand what their role is. They enjoy doing it. Our equipment shed is the cleanest it's been since I've been here. They keep things nice and tidy. So again, it takes everybody when you talk about a good football program. So really excited about them, and hopefully they can continue to be consistent and stay with the program.
I probably should have got my broom out a couple more times and maybe cleaned up our
Yeah,
shed.
you didn't do much sweeping, Jake. I
I,
didn't see you with the
you
broom
know,
all the time.
I will say I enjoyed the team meals. I think maybe I was just around for the cool polos. No, I enjoyed my football time. I just admittedly, but I had a lot more going on in high school than that, and I definitely should have put a little more effort in. But had a lot of time dedicated to Pontiac football still. But just seeing the managers as someone that was in that position, and maybe it just maybe I was scary or something. I was kind of really the only cat that did it during my time there, and seeing that you have a whole group now. And seeing their dedication, and again, they were up in the booth with us a little bit on Friday, and you could just really see that they cared, and that's a very, very nice asset to your team. You talked about, you were a hog once, as Mark said. Tolono Unity on the road after Illinois Valley Central. Can't wait. I have 2 classes with your family friend Chris Foster. He's down with Tolono, and we've talked about football, the last few weeks here this semester here down at Parkland, and yeah, he mentioned too that Bloomington Central Catholic and Tolono was a barn burner. You get to go back home. I hope you get one of the pork chops. I know Tim and I will be able to eat some of those good pork chops there at Tolono. See the fireworks, and then we move on to Rantoul back at home for homecoming. You get the parade, the floats. Everyone comes back home, and yeah, Pontiac football the next couple of weeks. A plate full. You get a very good game here at home. You go on the road for a tough one, and then you come back for Rantoul, and I think Rantoul, of course, this year, redemption, as Pontiac, again, losing last year for the first time in a little bit. To Rantoul, you get your redemption back at home on homecoming. There's good chance here to get a couple of wins at Williamson in this next 3-week span. Coach, any thoughts as we talk about this next 3 weeks?
No, like I said, just it's the little things. It's continuing to iron out the details. It's continuing to keep things simple so our kids can play confidently and stay together as a group. There's some exciting things going on in our program. JV went on the road last night at PBL and won a tough game, 28-26. Freshman guys have won a couple in a row, so we're seeing it. I'd love to see it more on Friday nights. We're getting there. We're becoming more competitive, but we've become to know that there's only one thing you can do, and that's just continue to put your head down and work and find ways to get better and improve on the little things, and that's what we plan to do.
Mark, Tim, final thoughts as we wrap up here on show number 2 at Tomahawk Talk, financed by the Bank of Pontiac.
Just want to hit, Coach. Josie Stocks, Zindell Hicks, Laura Washington, Aubrey Thompson, Carson Scott, Kindis Ajay, and the filmer Joseph Lucas. I got that right.
Whole crew of them, man. It's and again, they all know their job. Joseph actually runs our drone. We film practice with the drone.
Cool.
So we get our film that way and can look back at it and correct things. Kindness Ajayi came out. He wanted to play. He kind of figured out that he was better off putting a polo on and doing the manager thing. Same with Carson, but we love our group of managers. They do a tremendous job. Obviously, the girls, I rely on them a lot to do the little things kind of behind the scenes in our program. So I can't shout them out enough. We wouldn't be where we're at without them.
Coach, final thoughts before we wrap up for show number 2.
No, we'll see you guys Friday night. Let's go get one.
All right.
Good.
Coach
Sounds good.
Gadbury, yes. Tim, any final thoughts?
No, my final thought, I'm very anxious to see the start of the ball game Friday night. First 2 weeks, a lot of positives. PBL, but let's get it turned around. I think it's a we'll look back and say, hey, that was the start of something right here in week 4. And I think these kids got it, and I know the coaching staff's aiming them that way. So I'm anxious to all of a sudden, let's see Friday Night Lights, and let's go.
All right, you can catch all the action on the Ion Central Illinois Network, a part of the Casa Media Network. Tim and Mark will be at home Friday night with Ben Myre as well. Can't forget Ben, of course, broadcasting that live on Facebook. Again, myself and Tim will be at Tolono, and then Mark and Tim join again back at Rantoul. Coach, thanks for joining us today. Mark, Tim, everyone. Again, this was Tomahawk Talk with Friends of Pontiac Football, financed by the Bank of Pontiac. I'm Jake Green. Mark Myre, Tim Scott, Coach Gadbury is with us as well. Everyone, we hope to see you at Williamson on Friday night. It's Illinois Valley Central and the Pontiac Indians on tap next. We'll see everyone in a few weeks for show number 3. Thank you. Have a great week, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.